Hi everyone, I'm Chef Leroy and welcome to My Cozy Kitchen. I hope you guys are having a fantastic day. I certainly am. The weather here in Minnesota is just beautiful, about low 80s, really nice day out today. So I thought I would do something light and easy to make, and I am going to make a stir fry today. I'm using chicken, but I got a little twist to it. I'm going to use some fresh eggplant from my garden. Yes, we're going to do a chicken eggplant stir fry. I also have some green beans that I got from a friend of ours. I'm going to use some green beans. I got carrot, green onion. I have a bell pepper. This is an orange bell pepper. I have a yellow onion. Bought some shiitake mushrooms. This is a 5-ounce pack of shiitake mushrooms. Now, the other twist I'm going to throw at this stir fry, I'm going to use these rice cakes. These are a Korean rice cake. These are going to be in there as well. And what else? Got a little bit of fresh basil I'm going to add as a basically a garnish toward the end. We have some minced garlic. Now, I've got two different sauces that I'm going to use today. I've got this Lee Kum Kee, this Kung Pao stir fry sauce, and I've got House of Sang stir fry sauce. This is their classic. I'm going to mix the two. Now, Kung Pao is spicier. This one is not. This is a Cantonese style. It's not as spicy. So today I'm going to use a couple different oils. I'm going to use sesame oil, but I'm using this more of a flavor oil. Now, I just want to talk about oil. When you're doing a stir fry, you need a oil that has a high flash point. That's avocado oil. This is 100% avocado oil. Doesn't really matter what kind of avocado oil you use as long as it's 100%. This has the highest flash point of the different oils that are out on the market. The next one that's close to this is saffron or safflower oil, sorry, not saffron, safflower oil. And the other one is canola. And there's peanut oil as well. Those are the kind of roundups. Olive oil actually is toward the bottom of that list. So I do use extra virgin olive oil quite often. But today I'm going to use avocado oil to do my stir fry. So I've got some water going on the stove. So one of the first things I want to do is I'm going to blanch off my green beans and I'm going to blanch off this rice cakes, okay? These are wafers. See the pack there? What did I pack that with? My vacuum packer, Avid Armor. That's how I packed this up. It's been in the freezer for a few months as well. Looks perfectly fantastic. All right, and just so you know, I've got about 1.5 pounds of chicken breast here too. Anyway, I'm going to show you how to get everything together, so let's get after it. Okay, so before we can get anything going, we want to get these green beans prepped, right? So I want to clip the ends off. You can do them by hand too, but I'll choose to use a knife because you take a little less of the green bean away. So clip your ends off. This is a little time consuming here, but everything else should go pretty quick. All right, I got all my ends cut, so I'm going to cut the green beans down a little bit so everything matches up more. I'm going to cut them in half, basically, okay? Again, you want things to be pretty uniform when you're cooking. It just helps everything cook at the same rate. Now, I am going to blanch these in water first. All right, so these are ready to go to the water bath that I have. So I've got boiling water on the stove, so let's get those beans in that water. Okay, we're at the stove here. The water, kind of turned it down for a second while I was processing a couple things there, but I've got an ice bath right here. We're gonna go ahead and dump those green beans right in there. And basically I wanna blanch them until they're tender. It should take about 7 to 10 minutes. In fact, I'll put a timer on. We'll just figure it out. Okay, and if you want that water to come up to a boil quicker, just go ahead and throw a cover on your pan. This shouldn't take long. I already had the water pretty hot. Plus I have my stove on boost, which gives it a little bit more amperage to get those beans fired up. Okay, so one of the things you want to do while you're waiting for your beans to finish, you're going to multitask, right? So we want to go ahead and peel this carrot. I've got one large carrot. Now at the store you can buy shredded carrot too if you want to make it quicker. They also have matchstick carrots, as they're called. They have lots of different processed vegetables now at the store, so you can pick up something that's a lot easier than doing it by hand, but it will cost you more money. All right, I'm going to go ahead and cut the ends off here. I know this one already has the end cut off, but it's a little dry because it is cut like that in the store. These are juicer carrots. All right, I want to cut these down about what I had the green beans cut, right? So a couple inches. So go ahead and make it a little bit more manageable. So I'll cut it down like this. And I'm going to cut it into planks. About a 1/4 inch plank, okay, just like that. Now I'm going to cut these into strips. Just like that. And just like that. Okay, perfectly done. Going to throw those into a container. Set these in a container for a later step. All right, let's go ahead and process our yellow onion. So cut your ends off, cut your onion in half. Now for this stir fry, I'm going to use half of this yellow onion. Okay, I'm going to cut the onion straight down the middle. Okay, and then the grain goes this way on the onion. So I'm going to cut it with the grain like this. And just like that, okay? And keep your fingers back. So a nice small julienne, okay? I'm going to put those in a different container. I know I'm using different containers for things, but you'll see the reason I do it. I like to stage the cooking. I don't want to cook my carrots with the onion right away because the onions will cook quicker than the carrot. So that's why I do these different steps. All right, next thing we'll do is cut up this nice big bell pepper here. You can use green, red, whatever color you like. Now, you can also make a spicy stir fry by using jalapeno. Just go ahead and seed your pepper. Nobody can really ever eat a seed. They just don't chew well, okay? Mostly you just swallow them. All right, again, cut it down through the middle as you've seen, okay? And then go ahead and cut it into strips. Now the pepper I'm going to add to my onion. That I'll put in the same container. These will cook at the same rate. My timer's just about to go up on my green beans. And there you go. And the timer just went off for the green beans. So let's give those green beans a check. And there you go. All right, take the cover off. I just left the cover on. All right, let's check the beans, see how tender they are. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. All right. Go ahead and dump those into your ice water bath. Okay. So I'm going to just go ahead and cool these down and we'll add them to the stir fry later. So the next thing I want to do with this water, I want to blanch those rice cakes. So I'm going to do the same thing as I did with the beans, but these don't need to cook as long. Okay. Go ahead and add that right to the water. This is a really interesting textured food. They're a little chewy, and that's the way they're supposed to be, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and set a timer for 5 minutes. That should be all the time you need. Throw the cover on again just to get the water back up to a boil. All right, and let's go ahead and work on our eggplant. All right, we are going to work on the eggplants. Let's go ahead and take that leafy stem part off. Just like that. Set that to the side. I'm going to cut both ends off. Now these have been washed already too, so just make sure you wash all your vegetables. Now I want to cut it into small pieces as well, kind of like I did with this carrot, but probably slightly larger. All right. So let's go ahead and cut it into planks like I did the carrot. Okay, just like that. Now they're kind of long, so I don't want them that long. I'm going to cut it down the middle. Now these are pretty small eggplants. Now the best eggplant to use for a stir fry is actually Japanese eggplant, but these are not. These are more of a European type of eggplant. You're doing all this prep while you're blanching those other items off. It saves a lot of time. You can make the stir fry pretty quick. But like I said, I'm staging this. Okay, and there you go. Eggplant is done. All right, let's go check on those rice cakes. All right, the timer just went off, so I'm going to shut my stove off and get all of it out of there and get it into your ice bath. Just mix that around a little bit. All right, there you go. So the rice cakes are done, and I can show you what they look like here. So that's the rice cake, and they're still a little like chewy as they are. That's how they come out. So okay, we'll just let all this cool down and I'll show you the next step that we're going to work on. Okay, the next step I like to do is cook my mushrooms. Now I've shown this many times over in different videos. I always like to cook the mushrooms without oil. So I'm going to go ahead and throw the mushrooms in this preheated pan. This is 5 ounces of shiitake mushrooms. Now I saw that some of these are kind of big. I'm going to break these down a little bit. You don't have to, but I just like everything to kind of match up a little bit. So if the mushrooms are really giant, I want to just knock them down a smaller amount. All right, while the mushrooms are cooking, I'm going to work on my chicken breast. So what I will do is I will cut this open into a container so I don't get chicken juice all over. And as you see, I've got my nylon board on top of my wooden board. I told you many times already too in these videos that I always cut raw meat on nylon boards. They're a lot easier to sanitize because wood boards are porous, right? Okay. Now this is a pretty big chicken breast. Again, this was a 1.5 pounds of chicken. This one's pretty fat, so I don't want it to be that big. So I'm going to go ahead and cut it right through the middle here to thin it out a little bit. Okay, just like that. And this one's okay, but this one was pretty fat. Now I'm going to cut it into strips. Okay, just like this. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and put that chicken right in this container. Voila, chicken is stripped up. All right, let's go check those mushrooms quick. They're looking lovely. Just want to brown them up a little bit. Get that really nice shiitake flavor out of your mushroom. The reason I don't use oil is mushrooms will suck all the oil up immediately. So I don't want to add the oil to it right away. I got my eggplant sitting here. Now what I want to do, I'm going to take these shiitakes out of this pan and I'm going to throw them in with this raw chicken. Okay, it sounds a little strange, but everything is going to get cooked together, right? And I don't want to keep using more containers, so I'm going to go ahead and throw the mushrooms right in with my chicken. Now, I want this pan really hot when I cook this eggplant. I'm just going to cook it quick, and I probably won't even cook all that at once. We're going to check this here in a second. So I want a couple of tablespoons of avocado oil. You can see how hot it is already. Now I'll go ahead and add all of it. I don't have a lot of eggplant. If you had more eggplant than this, you'd want to split this up because you don't want it to sweat. You want it to brown up. And all the oil is already absorbed into the eggplant, as you can see. Just keep moving it around. You want this to get nice and browned up. I'm going to go ahead and add a couple more tablespoons to this too. Let's add a little bit more oil. Okay, there you go. And we're not going to add much oil to anything else later. We will be using some of that sesame oil for sure. Okay. For stir fry, you don't want this to get really mushy. You just want a really nice texture. kick this up even higher. Now if I had to walk, it'd be a lot faster. All right, let's just let that cook. Shouldn't take too long. All right, check out that eggplant now. Nice and browning up. Look at that, beautiful. Check that out. That's exactly what you want. See how nice and brown up that is? Perfect. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay this out on a tray. I'm going to turn off my stove for a second here. I'm going to lay it on a tray. And the reason I'm doing this is so it doesn't sweat too much. So I'm going to add everything together later. Perfect. All right. Next step, let's go ahead and cook the chicken and the mushrooms together. Just going to add just a little bit more oil. Use another tablespoon. So I've probably got about 5 tablespoons of oil to this dish so far. And that's avocado oil. So add the avocado oil to it. Let's go ahead and, this will be hot already. It'll cook up real quick. Nice. And as you see, I don't have any sauce yet. And a lot of this is also to keep the stir fry from getting too saucy or wet from these items. So it's nice to cook them ahead of time like this, so you don't have all that juice. Stir fry will you'll end up with a lot of juice. And I'm not doing a rice with this dish at all. Just doing a straight up chicken vegetable stir fry. All right, that chicken is done, so I'm going to go ahead and shut my stove off, and I'm going to put that right back in this bowl that I had the chicken in, just like so. There you go. Chicken done. All right, now we will cook the carrots. I want to go ahead and get these carrots in there. Go ahead and turn the stove back up. Get those cooked up a little bit. Just going to go ahead and add just a little bit of oil to the carrots. Don't need too much, about a teaspoon. Now as you've seen, I've only used avocado oil the whole time. I haven't used any of the sesame oil yet. That's going to be a finishing flavor, is what I'm going to do with that. All right, let's just go ahead and let these carrots cook and get softened up. All right, I'm going to show you a little trick. So the carrots have a little juice in here, and the reason they do is because I took some of the juice from this cooked chicken and poured it in there. So there's some in the bottom. That's one of the reasons why I like to blanch this stuff off ahead of time when I'm doing stir fry. So my stir fry is not diluted with liquid, because that's what'll happen. So now I'm just going to go ahead and cook these carrots in this chicken juice from this bowl right here. That's my little trick. All right, back to the carrots here. And I would say they've been cooking for about, I don't know, 4 minutes or so. I didn't really check the time. While you're doing all this cooking and everything else, and waiting for things, what else should you be doing? Well, you should be washing your dishes and cleaning up your area. That's what I do. So let's check one of these carrots and see how tender it is. Beautiful. Yeah, right on the money. Okay, I'm gonna shut the stove off. Now, what am I gonna do with these carrots? I'm gonna throw them right in with this chicken. Okay. Just like that. So I'm not going to clean the pan. We're going to use it for the peppers and onions. Go ahead and turn the stove back on. And this time is when I'm going to use some of the sesame oil. I'm going to go ahead and use a tablespoon of sesame oil. You can use whatever kind you want. I just happen to have this brand here. This is Kadoya. If I'm pronouncing it correctly, product of Japan. There you go. That's what it looks like. Okay. All right, 1 tablespoon of that. We're going to go ahead and add our pepper and onion to this. Again, this was a half of a yellow onion, julienne, and 1 large sweet bell pepper, julienne. Also, we are at this time going to add our garlic. So I'm using minced garlic. You can use clove as well. Anyway, I'm going to put a tablespoon of minced garlic in there. If you want to use whole clove, I would probably just use one large whole clove. All right, let's get that up to speed here. Temperature up a bit more. All right, let's give it a stir. Now, this is pretty much my last main cook part right here. Then everything just goes together in one pan. I've got a lot of stuff here, so it'll be interesting if I can get everything together. But this will shrink a little bit. So anyway, we will see how it all throws together as we make this dish. I don't have a really big pan, but we're gonna make it work. All right, I'm back to the stove here, and the onions and peppers, garlic look fantastic. So you basically are gonna cook this until you see that the onions are clear, right? Now everything is ready to go for the most part, okay? Everything has to just be put together. Now, again, like I said, this is a 12-inch saute pan. It's not very big, but I should be able to get everything in this pan. Okay, we are back to the stir fry. It is time to start it up. Kick this baby up on high. And now we are going to add all of our veggies and everything we've cooked off here. Oh, that looks so good already. So when this is complete, I will post a photograph of what the completed dish looks like when everything is done. So let's go ahead and put those green beans in there with our rice cakes. Now that's optional. You don't have to do that. I just had some to use up, and had them frozen for a while, as I showed you earlier in the video. And this is going to be one full pan, but I think I've got everything good here. Go ahead and throw that eggplant in there as well. Okay, I can already hear it sizzling, sounding good, what we want. All right, now we have to add sauce. Okay, so as I said, I was going to make a mixture of the two sauces here. So I got this Kung Pao stir fry sauce, and I've got this classic stir fry sauce. This is a Cantonese style. So it's a half cup. That's the Cantonese style. Okay. And then I'm going to use a half of the half cup, so a quarter cup of the Kung Pao. That'll give it a little bit of kick. Now, if you don't have this sauce, you can just use this one here, or you can use all the other one. It doesn't really matter. You can come up with your own combination of stir-fry sauces. It really doesn't matter at the end of it all. There's many, many different kinds of stir-fry sauces out there. Wow, it smells good, good, good. All right, I'm just going to go ahead and stir this up and let her cook. And if you need more sauce, you can add it if you think you need it. Otherwise, you can add it at the table and just add more sauce. You can also use soy sauce as well. I do have to get myself a wok though. That would be really helpful. Just a wok is so much easier to use when you're doing stir fries like this. This is still working just fine. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and let this heat up, and I'll do a recap on everything we did. Okay guys, I'm gonna do a recap on our chicken eggplant stir fry. Now, eggplant is an optional vegetable. I just happen to have fresh eggplant in my garden to use up. They're kind of small ones, but also the chicken, that was 1.5 pounds of chicken breast. All these things are optional. It could be a vegetarian if you choose. It can be with a different type of meat. I chose chicken. I had it in my freezer. I also used the rice cakes as I showed you. That's a Korean style rice cake. You can find those in Asian markets have them. And they also have the ones that look like rods, like small rods. That's another type. So there's a couple different types of rice cakes that you can buy. And it's not like the rice cakes that are crunchy that you eat straight out. These are completely different. So don't get confused with that part. Again, use a high flash point oil, which is avocado oil. Then I also used a little bit of sesame oil. And then, you know, your stir fries, sauce, just choose what you like. You can even use soy sauce for that matter, but choose a good stir fry sauce that you like. It doesn't really matter. You can even make your own stir fry sauce by using like oyster sauce and mixing a little bit of soy sauce in it. There's a couple different stir fry sauce recipes out there. I could probably even do a video on one of those too. But at the end of all of it, don't forget some green onions to garnish it up with. I got a little bit of fresh basil. Thai basil would be even better, but I don't have that in my garden, so I'm using some fresh basil from my garden. Try to use as much veggies as you can from your garden. That's a plus, all right? Again, it doesn't cost any money to subscribe. They don't charge you anything. It just gives you a notification when a video has dropped. So if you subscribe, that'd be fantastic. Please give me a couple thumbs up if you liked the video. Hopefully it was easy enough to follow along with. Again, all the staging I do, you do not have to do that. You could complete your dish a lot quicker. I just happen to eat later in the day when I'm doing this video, so I just wanted to show you how to stage it for a later meal. Anyway, leave a comment if you have any questions or want to add to the video. That's fantastic. I'll respond to those as soon as I see them. Hit that notification bell. Ding, 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 ding. You guys have a fantastic day. Chef Leroy, and out.